What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
I can't tell you. I don't think there's a single, and again, I don't know the demographics that are like in North and South Dakota outside of like corn farmers. I feel like that's like popular, but like any like local food that's like decent, like there probably isn't good Chinese or like Spanish or I don't know.
A lot of it's like they have like some breweries here, but like thing is like I haven't gone out at all because I don't have a reason to go out. So it's just like I haven't really. Ugh.
You're like Joey Gallo in the Bronx. You just like don't go out.
He couldn't go out. I felt so bad for him. He just didn't fit what they were doing.
And now he has more home runs than the Yankees have wins as of like yesterday.
Well, yeah, these Yankees suck.
Wow. Welcome in, folks, to the Getting the Whole podcast. Stephen McAvoy, Ben Pirro here with you on a magnificent Monday in the world of golf, the final week of the PGA Tour season, the Tour Championship at East Lake Golf Club. Where has the year gone, Ben? It feels like it's been it feels like it's literally been about like, I don't know, a month that we've been going through the thing, and yet the Masters was like 5 months ago. The U.S. Open was more than 2 months ago, which was like freaky to me. We had the Open literally a month ago, and yet here we are, East Lake, finally the third leg of the playoffs, the final week of the season. Wherever you're listening and however you are listening, be sure to throw us a like, a sub, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your playlists, and on YouTube as per usual. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Getting the Whole Pod, and on Facebook, just search Getting the Whole. Of course, find us on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Network. Find them on Twitter and Instagram at Underground PHI, and on Facebook and Twitch, type in those URLs, /that, like a karate chop, with Underground Sports PHI. Ben Pirro, the man, the myth, the legend, the golf god, kind of, sort of. You can follow him on Twitter at Pirro_Ben, and me at Stephen McAvoy _.
Also, you guys can follow me on Instagram at PIRRO. Never tell people that. It's insane.
You have like 20 followers, bro.
I have over 1,000 followers, you dingus.
Oh. So far you called me dingus, twinkle dick, and there was another one in the group chat I gotta find.
I didn't say that.
Look, Ben, I understand you want to keep up this image of like I'm the good boy. Let's be honest, dude.
No,
if Max Homa can roast people on Twitter,
wait, what? Huh?
If Max Homa can openly roast people on Twitter, you can have a little more of a bad boy attitude. It's okay. We're all human.
I don't know what you're talking about, though. I just think you're jealous because my hair looks better than yours. That's why.
I'm gonna share the screenshots. I think Ben should go to the long hair. I'm gonna post a poll. Be sure to vote on it at some point this week.
No, that would be. I think you should. Yeah,
that'd be fun, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun. But it's just like put a picture of me with short hair and then a picture of me with long hair, and then
yeah, we'll do it. But a lot has happened in about a 3-day span, which is like an eon in golf time, especially in the playoffs. Will Zalatoris has withdrawn. Well, he withdrew from the BMW. Now he's withdrawn from the tour final. Multiple guys are in, multiple guys are out, but everything started last week at the BMW in Wilmington, and we are going to start there on the show. Patrick Cantlay, a little bit of a deja vu moment, defends his title at the BMW despite the different golf course. He will now jump to number 2 in the aggregate scoring, only behind Scotty Scheffler as we go to East Lake. I'm going to kind of just throw this out there. We're going to talk more about Cantlay in terms of who fits the mold for East Lake. Do we see some deja vu in his future, considering literally a year ago today, he was defending his title against Jon Rahm?
Look, I do think that it's possible for him to win the Tour Championship. If you win the Tour Championship, you win the FedEx Cup. That's how it works. But I just, statistically, which we will get into later, I am a little bit hesitant to say that will happen. Look, I know he's only starting, 2 shots back from Scotty Scheffler. But statistically, I just don't think, at least this year, he fits this course as well as some other players that he'll be competing against. And we'll get into that later in the show.
Of course. And look, I think that what he was able to do last year was a lot different to what he's doing now. Obviously, going into last year, he had 3 wins or 2 wins to that point under his belt. 3 wins. The 4th came at East Lake. He had 14 strokes gained putting, something ridiculous, like an absolutely astronomical number to edge out Bryson DeChambeau at the BMW. Last year, he had won the Memorial. This year, it's only been this one win that's gotten him now over the top. He's finally broken the mold. But we always talk about momentum at the right time. I think there's certainly a possibility that we do wind up seeing him show out once more. It helps, of course, that now you're only down 2 strokes to Scotty Scheffler. We've seen as of the last 2 weeks, hasn't been the best putter on the planet. Was this past week dialed in that proximity to the whole game that we always talk about, how good he is from inside 25 feet to the cup. He managed to find that range pretty well this past week. And again, we'll talk more Scotty Scheffler news. But probably the biggest story coming out of this week was Will Zalatoris's withdrawal from the BMW Championship due to a back injury. He is now withdrawn from the Tour Championship, and it has been reported that he has 2 herniated discs, a major blow to the young stallion trying to find his way on the PGA Tour. Of course, got his first win at the FedEx St. Jude, and what looked to be the possibility of a run at the FedEx Cup has basically gone to squash. What do we make of Zalatoris' exit? And again, we're going to talk more about it as we get into what it means, particularly in the field this week, because there is some implications here with Zalatoris not there. But what do we make of Willie Z's season as a whole now that it's kind of come to a close?
I mean, it was a pretty incredible year, but you also think what could have been. And I know I've been on him quite a bit as far as putting, how he's performed as far as putting goes on the greens, stuff like that. But you can just be left with what could have been, what could have happened if he had played all 4 rounds last week and all 4 rounds at the Tour Championship. He had just as good of a chance as pretty much anybody. I mean, he was starting 3 back or 4 back if he had played.
Maybe 3 back.
He would have been 3 back, yeah. So he would have started at -7. Being only 3rd, you're only 3 back, and you have 4 rounds to make that up, basically. All you can think is what could have been. I sincerely hope that he has a speedy recovery, that this isn't a serious... I've never had herniated discs in my back, so I don't know what that's like. I don't know the severity of the injury. Initially, I thought this was going to be just a little tweak, and it was just a precautionary reason for him to sit out. He wouldn't fall too far down the leaderboard, or the FedEx Cup list. But it just leaves you kind of like a sour taste in your mouth, because you can't help but feel bad for somebody who really had a very good year. He really did. And then unfortunately, the tournament after he finally breaks through and wins, which is what we were all waiting for from him, he has a very unfortunate injury that seemed just like it came out of nowhere. So I wish him nothing but the best. And I really hope that he starts next year all healthy, 100%, and he's ready to go, because I really do think we're going to miss a lot of this.
I think we saw a glimpse, at least the last 2 weeks prior to the BMW, the entire year, that Willie Z was going to win it. He was going to win an event, and it was only a matter of time. And obviously, Jason Sobel of Dash Network had been saying for 6 weeks he had Will Zalatoris as his winning pick every single week, and all he would ever say in his write-ups was, at some point he will win. When was it going to be? We didn't really know. But we finally got that glimpse of we talked about it last week. You can't ball strike your way to a win. It seems nearly impossible, and yet for someone who started off as such a bad putter this year, again, when he went toe-to-toe with Luke List, it was the 122nd best putter on tour. The tour average in terms of strokes gained putting was 2. He was at a -3 on average, which is atrocious. And yet he was managing to place second at the PGA, third at the US Open, top 5 again at the Masters, and yet is losing strokes on the green. It goes to show how good, A, his proximity was, and B, his strokes gained tee to green. I believe going into this week, if you were to account for everybody on tour this year, he's like second. And I'm pretty sure he's only behind Rory in terms of overall strokes gained tee to green. So incredibly impressive when you can have strokes gained basically the entire width of the course, and then within about 20 feet, you kind of wash it away. Mm-hmm. He's finally figured it out. He talked to his coaches. They interviewed him after the FedEx St. Jude. He said finally something clicked this past week. That was managed, that he was able to get his stroke going. Unfortunately, the back injury just could not withhold itself. Apparently, it had been lingering for a few weeks. He fought through it at the St. Jude, but I guess the overall toll from basically giving it your all on Sunday to try and get that win was simply too much. Kept him out of the BMW, and now we have this news of the herniated disc. Overall, incredible year for Will Zalatoris. He deserves all the credit in the world. It's so unfortunate that isn't thing as a comeback on the PGA Tour, because despite him winning the Rookie of the Year last year, like, the guy came back and was still able to put up such a great sophomore year that if there was a sophomore player of the year too, he would have won it. Will Easy had a great year. We'll see him next year. And I'm hoping that once he rolls around, probably, obviously we'll see him at the Century in January, he'll be able to bring his A game and certainly be able to figure things out. Not much else happened at the BMW. Obviously, guys made it in, guys made it out. We'll talk more about that on the B side here. But I saw something that was fascinating. Rory Mcilroy had a bit of a run-in with a remote-controlled golf ball. How it got onto the course and got the security is beyond me. Apparently, somebody had a remote-controlled golf ball, was rolling it around the green and pissing Rory off. He wound up throwing it in the water on 17. What was worse, though? Rory's bad ball incident that he was stumbling around, or Colin Morikawa on Sunday going double bogey to, I believe, quintuple bogey. He shot a 10 on a par 5, plummeted him all the way down to 40th, and now he'll start this week at only 1 under par instead of what could have been 5 under par, where Sam Burns is. What's worse to you?
Well, I love Colin Morikawa, but definitely the quintuple bogey. I mean, he went 4-putt double, and then he made a 10 on a par 4.
Par 5.
Oh, par 5. I didn't even know what quintuple meant. I've been out of school for too long.
But that's important.
Yeah, math. I'm good with the maths. But no, like, it wasn't good. You have a 4-putt, and then you follow that up hitting 2 balls in the water. I will say it looked like a front pin, and that's easy to do when it's crunch time. You're trying to make birdies as much as possible. But unfortunately, just you can't have that. You can't, especially during the most important stretch of the year. I mean, look, I will say this about the ball incident with Rory. If I was Rory, I would have gone over. I would have asked if I could play with the controller, and I probably would have smashed that with my putter or 7-iron, and then I would have thrown it in the pond. So that's what I would have changed about what Rory did. I don't know how the fan got inside the ropes. Someone honestly should be fired from security, because he was just casually standing right next to the green, and then a police officer just casually walks over to him. I'd be like, WTF, what the football is going on?
Yeah,
so it's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm sorry. I feel really bad for Colin Morikawa. I really do, because I was really pulling for him this week.
Well, think of this. The money implications, and look, Colin's made plenty of money. He's won a couple of majors. He's now starting at 1 under par, right? So the winner is what, like $8 something, or no, like $16 million, something ridiculous. I was looking at actually, I think I have it here. Yes. So the money payout. So the winner makes $18 million, right? Had he started at 5 under, so he would have started out literally in 5th place. If he just maintained 5th position the entire week, would have started at 5 under, he would have made $3 million, right? He's now all the way down to 1 under par, which is second to last in terms of the aggregate scoring. and he's currently lined up, if he just coasts, to make just south of $1 million. So when you think about it, his quintuple bogey is the equivalent of about $250,000 per putt, which is like mind-blowing to me.
Insane.
Which also is like we talked about this at the St. Jude. I think like JJ Spawn had like a back nine where he lost like $800,000. Like someone who hasn't made a lot of money is like sweating out like $8,000 putts. Like ludicrous. The bad ball situation is like, is it as bad as like when the girl picked up Nelly Korda's ball at the LPG event? It's pretty bad. Like the situation itself is terrible. The ball itself, whatever, it's kind of funny. And the fans were loving the fact that Rory threw it into the pond. He was not having it. He was ready to football tackle this guy. But really, Colin's situation is far worse. I feel so bad for the guy. And now he's kind of plummeting down this hole, down at 1 under, and yet he might possibly be like one of the best players fit for this golf course. Like he fits this golf course to a T. Yeah. Unfortunately, there isn't an award for low gross, or else I'd probably put him there. But like, what a shame. The fact that you could possibly lose the FedEx Cup because you quintuple bogeyed, like I get it, like it happens to everybody, but in the worst possible time.
Yeah, look, I mean, all you can do is just chalk it up as a learning experience. Exactly. That's all you can really say. And look, he's the type of guy that handles everything with such class. That's why he's one of my favorite players on tour. Great competitor, beautiful golf swing, great attitude. You can tell he just really loves golf. And it's just of all the people to have that happen to him, it sucks. It sucks.
If only have Patrick Reed. If only, man. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the video.
Oh my God.
The PGA Tour posted a video. This was like a while ago of Colin with some older gentlemen at his old golf course at Chevy Chase Country Club. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's on the PGA Tour website. So awesome videoing. Like he used to play with these guys. They're like 70 years old. He used to play with them when he was like 7 and would like beat them hand over fist. And like the stories they share, it's like a 10-minute video. Go watch it. Anyways, we're going to talk a lot more about this next week while the PGA Tour season is wrapped up. But we want to tease this a little bit because the announcement came out this past weekend. The automatic qualifiers for the President's Cup have been released. I'll read them off to you now. On the American side, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Sam Burns, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, and Patrick Cantlay. And then on the international side, and things are apt to possibly change depending on the quote-unquote rumors of live golf turnover. But Corey Connors, Cameron Smith, Adam Scott, Jung Hyun Kim, a.k.a. Tom, Joaquin Niemann, Mito Pereira, Sanjay M, and Hideki Matsuyama. Now, Will Zalatoris was included on the automatic qualifier for the American side. Of course, he has withdrawn from the President's Cup due to those same herniated discs. I want to ask you right now, of these teams, assuming that Cameron Smith and the rumored Mito Pereira and Hideki Matsuyama do not jump ship to live golf, and they play the President's Cup, automatic qualifiers alone, who has the better team?
Oh, the U.S. does.
By how much though?
A lot. No, I'm serious. They have the better team by a long shot. I believe the President's Cup, the international team has only won the President's Cup one time, right? Yeah. This is, look, historically, this has never been a competitive event. There have been instances where said years have been competitive, but if you just look at the overall records, it has not been competitive. I mean, I know we lost a lot of guys to live on the PGA Tour. I get that, but you have Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, Tony Finau. That's a pretty darn good top 6. They're all young. They're all likable. They're all really good at golf.
Not to mention, you're probably going to get Cameron Young and Colin Morikawa and X-Day, somebody else in the top 20 in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
granted, look, if Cameron Smith and Hideki Matsuyama jump ship to live, then like all hell's gonna break loose.
Yeah.
And like this is probably one of the more competitive teams they've ever had, considering in years past it was like Louis Oosthuizen, Mark Leishman, and then just a pile of crap. There was one year, this was a while back, that I think it was like Ernie Els and the next best player. I probably can't even tell you their name. Yeah. So like arguably like this is the most competitive team, but like even when you think about it, who's the best player if Smith and Matsuyama go? Is it Neiman? Is it M? Like who stands out there in that group? Corey Connors can't hit a putt. He can get you to 5 feet to the cup, can't hit the putt. So it's like, who knows? But I did say after Tom Kim won, I said this guy's making the President's Cup team, and guess what? He fucking did it. So good for him. So
good job, Tom.
I love you, Tom. All right, so we've gotten through basically our preview. There's a few things that came up in the last like 45 minutes on my timeline that was gonna kind of like rapid fire real fast because I haven't prepped for these at all. You haven't prepped for them at all.
Be on the spot.
But yeah, I'm basically putting us on the spot here. The PGA Tour just announced also that everyone who made the field at the Tour Championship, if they have not won an event, will be added to the Century Tournament of Champions come January, which means that we are going to see Adam Scott, Colin Morikawa, Corey Connors, Cameron Young, Aaron Wise, Brian Harman, Sahith Theegala, and Scott Stallings all in the field. What do you make of the extended field? Apparently, there's a lot of backlash, a lot of scolding hot takes, like saying like, "Oh, we can't repunge the reputation of the Century Tournament champions." Meanwhile, these guys who make the Tour Championship field qualify for like U.S. Open and like the match for like 10 years. What do you make of it?
I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think if you don't have a win, you should not be allowed to play. It's the Tournament of Champions. It literally says champions in the tournament name. Okay, they should not be allowed to play. If you're going to get into the Tournament of Champions, you should have won a PGA Tour event in the previous calendar year. It's not that difficult. Well, it is very difficult, but you know what I mean.
We're talking about it prior to the show starting. Want to get your thoughts here. Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods teaming up with a sports agency called Tomorrow Golf. Possibility of bringing golf to stadiums, like esports, something pretty cool. I know you brought up the idea of like a pitch and putt. I just don't know how this would like work. We're gonna have to learn more like as it goes on. But initial thought from having literally no idea what's going on. We'll probably break this down more in the coming weeks as we learn more info. But first thought.
I'm just interested. My first thought is, how is this going to help the journeymen and the veterans who aren't household names on the PGA Tour? How's that going to help them? Look, like, yeah, you can sell out stadiums, but like, what are you going to do? Like, 50-yard pitch shots? Like, if someone holds it, like, I'll clap and say good shot. I'm not going to go jumping up and down and like if the Mets won the World Series, what's that?
That'll probably never happen in our lifetime.
Oh, it's gonna happen this year, I promise you.
Don't bring it like that.
But look, in all honesty, I don't really understand. I just hope that it benefits the older, seasoned veterans who are not household names, the journeymen. That's what I hope, because that is the only way you're going to stop getting players from going to live, if you can help those guys out. That's just my opinion.
I'm really hoping this wasn't the solution that Tiger brought up in this players-only meeting last week. If it is, oh my God. If it is, I'm nervous. Kind of. Like what?
I know it says he's an entrepreneur in his Twitter bio, but actually I did see that today. I think it does say entrepreneur.
It does.
I would just be like, dude, what were you thinking? Like, this was like your grand idea. I really hope this wasn't like the grand idea.
I hope not.
I really hope not, because if I went to that meeting and that was what was proposed, I'd be like, are you effing kidding me? No.
Although I will say this, Tiger Woods does have a really impressive string of mini like putt golf courses. If you've ever been to Pop Stroke.
Yeah, I've been there.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, I'm not going to spend hundreds of dollars to go to a stadium and watch that, though.
Well, I don't think of this. People pay money to go watch the American Cornhole League. Do you think
don't think that's that lucrative of a sport, Steven?
It's not, but like as something to do. I don't know. Like what Cameron Smith would dominate the putt tour. Finally, one last thing. They've announced PGA Tour 2K23 will have Tiger Woods on the cover as per usual. Why not? It's the first time Tiger's Great cover since Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2014, when it was him and Arnold Palmer. Also announced playable character Michael Jordan. When you get the game, if you even do, first player you're teeing it up with, is it Tiger or Jordan?
I don't play video games, so none of them.
As the guy who does, probably Michael Jordan, because I've already played as Tiger way too many times. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, East Lake, the Tour Championship, who's in, who's out? We're breaking it all down right here on the Get Noel podcast, the final episode of the season. Ben, strap in. Welcome back into the Get in the Hole podcast. Ben Pirro, Stephen McAvoy here on the final week of the PGA Tour calendar. It is East Lake, the Tour Championship on the PGA Tour. Let's just get right into what we got to talk about. It's time for us to open the book. Talk about exactly what's going on at East Lake. It's Ben's book time and some course confidential for East Lake. Ben, I see a lot of notes, man. There's a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about it by the numbers. I want to hear every little detail. Course confidential, East Lake, Ben Pirro, break it down.
Okay, so first I figured I should give you just like a little bit of a breakdown for anybody who's not exactly familiar with the setup of this event, yada, yada, yada. So if your first FedEx Cup points, you start at -10, second starts at -8, third -7, which isn't happening. Will Zalatoris, who would be starting at -7, is not playing. Praying for him. I really hope he makes a speedy recovery. Xander Schauffele starts at -6, and then so on. It goes further and further down the leaderboard to like guys in the back of the pack of the top 30. They're starting at even par. This article, and if I just wanted to say, based on, even though Will Zalatoris isn't playing, could you tell Kyle to stop texting? It's like going off on my computer. So I will say, even though Will Zalatoris is not playing, with that top four, given how tumultuous of a year the PGA Tour had, for the top four going to this event to be Scheffler, Cantlay, Zalatoris, and Schauffele, that's pretty freaking good. Considering all the guys that left. They're all likable guys. They're all really young and good players. I think that's great. Adam Scott and Aaron Wise, they actually ended up getting the final two spots. I believe they both parred their 72nd holes to get in. Scott Stallings actually made the biggest jump going into the BMW Championship. He started the week at 46th, and actually I believe he finished solo second. And is now in 12th place on the FedEx Cup list. And the winner, if you win the FedEx Cup, you get $18 million. Your caddy is set for life as well, which is fantastic. All of those stats I just read you was from a pretty long but very good article called First Look Tour Championship by Adam Stanley at PGAtour.com. You can go and check that out. As far as the course goes, though, and this was also touched on in his article, obviously this is East Lake Golf Club. This course is no stranger to hosting big events. It's actually the oldest course in the Atlanta area. It's only a par 70, and it's about 7,300 yards, so it does play longer because of the par than the actual yardage indicates, because there are less par 5s. The original architect was Tom Bendelow, But this course has also been touched up by both Donald Ross and Reece Jones, so two incredibly prominent golf course architects. Something to keep in mind, which we will discuss later, the scoring average last year, I say only when I say this, but it is a par 70, was only 68.62 shots. So that means that players who are more back of the pack are going to have a much harder time winning this tournament and the FedEx Cup. That's why the seeding going into this event is so important. It's not an easy course to go low on. It really is not. And just a couple tidbits for you guys. Tiger Woods has the 72 hole record here at minus 23. That was set back in 2007. My man Zach Johnson, who works with Mike Bender, my swing coach, has the course record, the single course record of 60, which is minus 10, also in 2007. Now getting into the golf course. So, being that this is Atlanta in the South, this is all Bermuda, okay? Bermuda fairways, rough, greens. So there's going to be a lot of grain. Greens that have Bermuda grass, there's grain, which you'll see like light patches and dark patches. Light patches, that means you're putting down grain. Dark patches means you're putting into the grain. Grain is harder to putt on because that type of grass, Bermuda, is harder to putt on because of that grain than, say, bent grass greens, which you just basically read it and hit it. So you have to account for grain. Basically, grain accounts for roughly 1% of break in putts. So you might have to increase or decrease break. You might see some guys getting some more difficult putts, say a putt that breaks right to left, but the grain is going left to right. So those are tough putts to read because it's like how much is the grain actually going to affect this putt? Also, because this is late August, early September in Atlanta, the Bermuda rough is going to be long. It's going to be thick. One thing about Bermuda rough, the ball always sits down. And so whenever you get grass in between the club face and the ball, it is very difficult to control the ball flight because you're not actually striking the ball. You're generally striking the grass first. So look for the straighter driver of the golf balls this week to compete and be at the top of the leaderboard. Other than that, I would say, do we want to get into the keys to winning right now? Or I can't hear you.
I am muted. Yeah, let's hop right into it.
Okay. So for me, keys to winning, I would say because there's so much money on the line this week, it's the last event of the year, you have to have a strong mental game. Whoever is the toughest mentally will prevail this week. Okay, $18 million is a lot of money. That's a lot of money at stake, and every single shot counts. So who can overcome the pressure and the nerves that can be bestowed on players this week? That's incredibly important. Moving more into the physical part of the game, you have to drive it well this week. If you don't, you're going to be in long, thick Bermuda rough, which is very difficult to hit out of. So whoever drives it the straightest in the fairway will have better looks at the green. And also putting, mainly short putts. And late in the day, when the grain gets a little bit longer, a little bit more scraggly, when it's not as perfectly cut in the morning, you have to really understand how the grain is going to affect each putt, or even how it's going to affect a chip shot, because you have to understand if the grain is growing into you on approach shot, that ball's going to grab more. If it's actually growing away from you on the approach shot, the ball's not going to grab as much. So little things like that will go a long way. Who can putt the best and who can really drive it the best this week. So, yeah.
Don't mind me. I'm just
and Steven is imploding.
No, don't mind me. I'm just.
You're frozen.
I was muted again. I don't know what the hell just happened. There's two things that matter the most to me this week. I think that the golf course doesn't, on paper, right? 7,300 yards, obviously it's playing longer. But what stands out is, A, like you had mentioned, hitting it straight and hitting it far. You got to be able to find it. It's pretty well undulated, so there's a lot of hills to attack. But you can go two straight holes downhill. I think it's the third or fourth hole. It plays completely uphill, blind shot over the water. Find it, and then you're sloping up probably 30, 40 feet. It's like 18 at Bethpage, trying to walk your way all the way up the hill, find that plateau, blind shot. There's plenty of those on the entire course, blind shots into the green. To be able to drive it far enough that you can be hitting wedges into greens is going to be crucially important, which is why for a guy like Scotty Scheffler, this course is going to be a home run if it gets straight.
That's
The
right,
big
babe.
thing that I find is that the putting stat is a little bit not minuscule because it matters a lot, but historically, the guys who put the ball next to the hole the best, proximity to the hole, and the guys who drive it the furthest and straightest, so strokes gained off the tee, tend to win at this golf course. Putting is important. However, it's much more of a second shot course than anywhere else on the PGA Tour. The average proximity to the hole to make a birdie or better on this golf course is only about 10.5 feet. So to be able to find your way within that clip, now might I add, current proximity to the hole on the PGA Tour is like 32.5 feet. That's about tour average. You're going to have to get it really close. The undulations are going to be killing your ball. And especially with the kind of grain that you're playing on, you won't be able to kind of knock it close and have the ball sit. It's going to run out. So I think putting matters, but it's going to be much more on the actual ball striking and ability to find the hole and get close to it, which is why there are certain guys that kind of fit the parameter of this golf course far more. And we're going to hop right into that. Who are some guys who fit the statistical profile of this golf course that we think are going to be crucially important to win here? Give me a couple of names that you're interested in as we go in.
Okay, I'm just going to completely forget that you just said putting's not going to be as important. But getting into that, I'll give you three guys before Will Zalatoris had withdrawn. He was actually one of my favorites to play well this week. But three guys who statistically fit this course's profile. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler. Everybody knows I'm a big strokes gained guy. I think that's a very telling stat for any part of someone's game. So he's fourth in strokes gained approach to the green. That's very important. Tee to green, strokes gained, he's sixth. And strokes gained total, he's fifth. Okay, so he's top six in those three categories, which is very important. My second guy, Rory Mcilroy. I believe he's seventh in FedEx Cup points going into this week. Is that right?
Yes.
Strokes gained off the tee, he's third. Strokes gained tee to green, he's second. Strokes gained total, he's first. Rory is an elite ball striker. And I feel, look, he's not my pick to win this week, but I know he won the RBC Canadian Open. I just feel like he's a guy who contends so much, but just doesn't win as much as he deserves because he's up at the top so often and he's always such a good pick. And statistically, he fits this course very well. He did win the FedEx Cup out here as well in a playoff, I believe, in 2018 or 19. So that's my second pick. That's my second guy. Lastly, this might surprise you, Tony Finau. Strokes gained off the tee, he is 14th. Now that is a little bit misleading because he hits it so far. It's harder when you hit it so far to keep it straight, but he is 14th. Strokes gained approach to the green, he's 7th. Strokes gained tee to green, he's 7th. And the strokes gained total, he's 12th. Now, those stats might not jump off the page as much as Rory or Scotty Scheffler, but remember, he did win 2 weeks in a row late in the regular season. Okay? And given how good of a ball striker he is and how straight he hits the ball, along with such a fun and loving attitude, I really think he does fit this course's profile very well, considering the attitude of players will matter a lot this week because of what's on the line.
I have four guys in mind. One of them you have mentioned. I think, again, Rory fits this course to an absolute T. And it's funny you bring up how he's always in contention but never seems to win. Those backdoor top 5 and top 10s are just his bread and butter.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's like bound to happen again. And we'll talk more about him in Beer Money. Rory fits this course incredibly well. Jon Rahm also fits the course very well. There's a reason why he played so well here last year. Someone who might surprise you that when I was looking at the numbers, I was like, this is like weird. I mentioned before, he can't putt for shit. But Corey Conners is 6th on the PGA Tour in proximity to the hole, and he's number 1 in good drives gained. It's a very, he fits the course well in terms of the ability to hit it straight, hit it far enough, and also that, again, you don't finish 6th on the PGA Tour in proximity to the hole for nothing. The only guys in front of him, granted, it's a bit of a skewed stack because some guys had less time, but among players with over 20 events played on the PGA Tour this year, Shane Lowry, Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, and then Corey Conners. Proximity to the hole, he's only at 33 feet 11 inches. Tour average is 4 feet more at 36 feet. Very impressive for Corey Conners. The one guy, though, who I think is the absolute best fit for this golf course is Xander Schauffele. He's number 1 in terms of Donald Ross design golf courses. Of course, Donald Ross was one of the main contributors to this golf course's redesign back in the day. He's number 1 currently among the field. And hold on, let me pull it up for you. He's number 2 in stroke gain putting on Bermuda grass. He's number 3 in terms of par 4 scoring between 450 yards and 500 yards, where just about most of the par 4s play on this golf course. Like I said, he's gaining 37.9 strokes in his last 24 rounds on Donald Ross design golf courses. That's 7 more than the next highest guy, who's Victor Hovland at 30. He fits this golf course to an absolute T. I think he's going to play a great round of golf, and he'll be able to find his way, hopefully, toward the top of the leaderboard, despite starting off a little bit lower on the scale. Let's talk about who's in and who's out. We know the guys who are already at the top of the list. We know the Schefflers and the Cantlays and the Burnses of the world. But we got to look at the guys who just kind of snuck in. And we're going to start with the guys who missed out on a shot at the Tour Championship. Shane Lowry, Trey Mullinax, JJ Spawn, Kevin Kisner, and Davis Riley. Among the group, who are you the most sad to see miss out on a chance at the Tour Final?
Oh, it's Kisner, 100%. I think he's such a likable guy, yet he's so honest. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's also from he went to University of Georgia, so he's from the area as well. That sucks to see that he missed. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I also think he has a very underrated swing as well. Very consistent, beautiful looking swing, and just a great competitor, but a fun guy to be around. It stinks that he's not playing.
Not just because I share his body type and I kind of look like him a little bit, but I'm very upset with. I love Shane Lowry. I think he's a great player. I also think Trey Mullinax deserved a shot. Of course, obviously the way the ball lies, it doesn't lie. So he wasn't able to make it. But Mullinax, as someone who's had a very up and down career so far, the fact that he was able to get so close and just miss out kind of sucks. But for Shane Lowry, again, he's a really solid player. He's been, in terms of major play and major scale events, he has, I think, 18 top 25 straight among major events and other major key events like Riviera, the Waste Management with players. So he plays the best in the clutch moments and in the biggest stages. So I'm really upset that Shane Lowry is out. The guys who did make it, like you said, Scott Stallings finished solo second. Adam Scott found his way in. PGA Tour rookie Heath Thagala is in. KH Lee and Aaron Wise. Who are you the most excited to play against the biggest names this week? Of course, Adam Scott is no stranger. I think he's the most tenured player in terms of overall Tour Championship appearances. But who among the group are you the most excited to see tee off towards the bottom half of the Tour field?
Oh, Adam Scott for sure. I believe I had him picked to move up a lot and actually to potentially get to the Tour Championship, heading into the FedEx St. Jude. I'm so excited. He's turned what's been a pretty nondescript year into really a very good year. I mean, he's basically top 30 on the PGA Tour, which is That's very
Impressive.
That's impressive. I mean, and how much he's moved up in just a couple weeks, that's very good. So that's who I'm most, and also look, I know I'm like a sucker for beautiful swings. The guy has a beautiful swing. He really does. I could watch it all day. So yeah.
What do you think of Adam Scott's constant khaki pants, brown shirt combination? The
I don't
shades
know.
of brown.
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing with that. He's usually such a good dresser, but like,
You know what it is? I think it's become such a meme that it's kind of like he has to wear it.
I guess. I don't know.
The guy who I'm hyped to see, and I'm very upset he didn't get. Well, he came close to that elusive first win at the Travelers. Sahith Theegala has come from. He played the Waste Management this year as a sponsorship exemption, and has managed to literally fight his way all the way up to the top 30 in the world. Incredible climb from Sahith Theegala, and now he's gonna. I believe he has fully earned his PGA Tour card with his qualifying by far. Someone that we're going to be seeing next year as a Rookie of the Year candidate, who's going to be like a exceptional, probably front runner among the cast of guys who he'll be with, assuming that there are certain guys like Sam Bennett and other guys who will make their way up very quickly. But Sahith Theegala, man, what a climb for this kid. I must say, though, Adam Scott's climb, like you said, very nondescript year. What's almost seemed like there were a lot of rumors going in early on in the year of, Adam Scott jumping to live. The one guy that I can confidently say is like shut down the rumors and like backed it up. Like he's fully on the boat with the PGA Tour, and he's loving everything about it. It's like him and Justin Rose are like the two like old guys who everyone's like, oh, they're gonna jump ship because they have nothing else to do. They're like Sergio, where they're kind of over the hump, but they aren't like there to be able to compete on the largest stage. And yet here he is. So incredible move for Adam Scott here. I think it's finally first the final break and hop into what really matters. Oh wait, I'm missing something. I am missing some of our prop bets this week, brought to you by our friends over at Pickup. Pickup, play the headline, sign up with your phone number, and get betting today. We haven't done some prop bets in a long time, but there's a lot that I think are very, very interesting. And we're going to start off with the rematch. Low gross scoring. Who will have the better low gross score? Patrick Cantlay or Jon Rahm, the two guys who faced off in last year's Tour Championship on Sunday and went basically hole for hole until Cantlay edged out Rahm. Who's going to have the better low gross score, Ben?
Patrick Cantlay. He's just had a better year, plain and simple. And he's been playing better as of late. That's my logic.
I'm apt to agree with you, but I kind of want to play devil's advocate here and go Jon Rahm. So for the hell of it, I'll go Jon Rahm.
Because you can just look, because it's fine. It's fine. Just fine. It's fine.
I'm simply trying to gain an edge on you. Our second prop right here is going to be a group bet. Who will finish the best among the group? We're looking at the specifically who are starting this week at 4 under par between Cameron Smith, Rory McIlroy, Tony Finau, Sepp Straka, and Sungjae Im. Of course, those first 3 guys are no stranger to the Tour Championship and certainly have a lot of things riding for them. Of course, multi-time winners on tour this year. Among the group of 4 under boys, who will have the best score overall, including the aggregate?
Oh, I'm going with Rory McIlroy. He loves this golf course. He knows it very well. He's won in this golf course. One of the best ball strikers in the world. Beautiful golf swing. Rory McIlroy.
I'm going to go with Cameron Smith, and for a reason that I will talk about in Beer Money, because I am featuring him.
Is it like he's a little bit spiteful? Is it like the live thing a little bit?
No, actually, it's more so an actual like skill-based, like on the golf course thing. Nothing related to live. I'm not going to acknowledge that Cameron Smith's jumping ship until he actually does so, because I like him so much. I know he is. I know. I just don't want to think about it until it happens. Is it a hole in one or holes in one? Like hole in ones.
Hole in ones. Are there going to be any hole in ones this week?
Hole in ones. That's the terminology. You know, it's nice having a golfer here who actually knows his shit. Hole in ones this week. we have seen every single year for the last 6 years, someone has made an ace. Most recently last year, Harris English on the par 3 16th Island Green. Will we see another one this year?
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I don't think so. 16 straight years, that streak's got to come to an end. I mean, people don't understand. Like, I've had 2 hole-in-ones in my life. Okay? I've been playing golf for 14 years. 2. That's it. Like, that streak's coming to an end.
I'll tell you this. I literally, as I was writing this, I saw a Facebook post from like a meme account. A girl at a women's championship final, like a U18 final, had 2 aces in 1 round, and I'm like, I've never even come close to 1. Actually, that isn't true. I came close to 1. I was like a foot away from the hole, but like that's the nearest I'll ever get. Like how you get 2 aces in 1 round is beyond me. Absolutely incredible stuff. Our top 2 here. We had mentioned that this event is a pretty top-heavy event. Patrick Cantlay said today in an interview that he doesn't like the aggregate scoring, but quite frankly, he doesn't really know a better system to go off of. Do you think the winner will be inside the top 3 in terms of overall aggregate? Will the winner be within that top 3 currently? So, not including Will Zalatoris, will it be Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, or our friend in third, Xander Schauffele?
Yeah, it's going to be someone in the top 3. And the only reason I say that, remember before when I touched on last year's scoring average on this course, which was just a shade under 1 under par. This is not an easy course to go low on. So if you're starting the week, 8, 10 shots back, whatever, you're going to have a really hard time making up ground. And so that's why I can confidently say the winner will be inside the top 3 at the start of the week.
Past champions, back-to-back years, the winner, Dustin Johnson, and then Patrick Cantlay, both finished at 21 under par to win the event at the Tour Championship. Will we see over or under the winning score, 21.5? Do you think they'll finally go over that number?
Well, it's minus 21.5.
Yes.
So will not.
Will the winning score be 21 under? Or worse, or will it be 22 under or better?
It'll be 21 under or worse. Yep. Basically,
yeah,
copy and paste, citation, insert my answer to the last question and reasoning into this one.
Yeah, this golf course is way too hard, and I think that the players that are coming in, as opposed to what we saw last year, where Cantlay was on a roll, John Rahm was by like head and shoulders the best player in the world. I don't think we had like. Scotty Scheffler hasn't had a huge, amazing week in about 5 weeks. So he's kind of starting to die down a little bit. The only person who's really been like on that roll really has been Tony Finau, but he's so far and away on the aggregate already. It kind of seems almost unlikely for him to gain, I think like 6 strokes to manage to come back here. Yeah, he's 4 under par right now. To gain back 6 strokes and then on top of that have to score another 11, it seems pretty unlikely. So I'm going to agree with you. It's going to be below that. Just no one this week has the momentum in terms of the top 3 players. Schauffele only has 1 win this year from the Travelers. Cantlay obviously is riding high from the BMW, but even then wasn't putting better than he was last year. So I think it'll certainly fall under the card there. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, beer money time. We're going to break down exactly who we think will take home the win, both the low gross and the winner. And of course, give you some more bets in between. Don't go anywhere. You're watching and listening. Be getting the whole podcast from the Underground. Final segment of the PGA Tour calendar. It's time for our final beer money pick of the week, brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer, Philadelphia's #1 light beer. They just posted a sick hat on their Twitter. From Pirro has a little rope hat. I think we're going to try and get you in that for a event at some point.
I don't wear rope hats.
Why do you have to ruin the fun?
Why would I put that on my head?
Rope hats are cool. It's a sponsor.
No, they're not.
It's a sponsor.
Get me a normal one, please.
All right, fine. I'll buy you a normal. Anyways, it's time for beer money. Ben, we start off with a top 20 this week. final picks of the year, star-studded cast. Who are you taking top 20 at East Lake?
This is solely based off of momentum. I'm going to go with Adam Scott. Look, there's only 29 guys in the field this week now. So he only has to beat 9, and he's been killing it the last 2 weeks. Yeah, fire up Adam Scott to finish top 20, people. Come on.
I love that.
What?
No, the reason he only has to beat 9 guys.
That's it. Yeah.
I always found these picks funny because, like, when you think about it, like, yeah, you're only beating 9 guys, and the idea of like moving up is like so hard. When you think about it, it doesn't seem that difficult, but really, you're kind of you're. It's almost like it's top heavy, so you're kind of fighting around the people like in your area. So he's fighting against all the guys who are 1 under and 2 under, really. Which is exactly why I'm taking Colin Morikawa to finish top 20. The proximity game is just so good. And to be honest with you, if there was a winner for low gross, Colin's probably the second pick. Obviously, I have a guy for low gross, but he's like right there. It's just this putter. It keeps on kind of getting in the way. But he hits straight. He hits it far. The proximity is incredible. He's by far among the group the best ball striker currently on tour. I think Colin for top 20 is an absolute shoe. And again, only has to beat 9 guys. And unlike Adam Scott, he gets 1 stroke. So you give him a little nudge, a little push. Top 10 for you. Who you got?
John Rahm. He's had just overall a very consistent year. He's had some success on this golf course in years past. Overall, just a very strong player. John Rahm, top 10. It's a shoe-in.
I have John Rahm as well for top 10. I think it's probably one of the easiest plays of the week, if not the easiest. He fits this golf course to a T. He plays it really well. And every year he's played here, he's never finished any worse than 5th. So I think it's pretty easy to give John Rahm an easy crack at a top 10 here, even though he's at that -3 number where he's going to have to climb over guys like Cameron Smith and Rory Mcilroy. I think he'll be able to kind of duke it out with the best of them this week. Your top 5.
Top 5, Patrick Cantlay, a guy who is basically starting in second place at 8 under. Great player, has had a lot of success here in the past. FedEx Cup champion. He's definitely a shoe, and won last week, mind you. So, yeah, he's going to win. He's going to not win. He's going to finish in the top 5.
Mine's Xander Schauffele. It's I wanted to take him to win because he just plays so well on these golf courses, but I just think that the 4-stroke deficit between him and Scheffler right now is a little too great. Despite Schauffele also being the 3rd best putter currently second best putter among the field this week is strokes gained putting on these lightning fast Bermuda grass greens. I think he'll certainly make top 5. He's already in that top 5 sector. In terms of someone overtaking it, I think it's possible to get one guy up there. But if Sam Burns falls off and he gets a little wiggle room, he'll most certainly finish top 5 for me. Before we get into the low gross in the winner, of course we have our gimme pick. Who do you have this week?
Tony Finau, top 15. Statistically, this course suits him very well as far as ball striking goes. Top half. It's top 50%. Yes. Tony Finau, top 15.
Mine is going to be Rory McIlroy, top 10. He's the one guy that I think will be able to just trudge his way up. The putter's been on fire. The overall game has been great. And again, he has a very vast history here. He wins here. So I think Rory is just an absolute shoo-in for a top 10. The low gross. Now, of course, for those casual fans who have been hearing us talk about aggregates and gross scores and all these different weird things, obviously, as Ben pointed out in Course Confidential, and thanks to Ben's book, we most certainly do have the aggregate scoring 1 under from even par all the way up to 10 under. Of course, Scheffler leading the pack at 10 under par. The low gross score will be the guy who finishes top of the leaderboard. If everyone started out blank slate, even par going in like every other event, who do you have, Ben, as your low gross winner at East Lake?
Justin Thomas. I think he's due for a really good week. One of the best players in the world. When he's on, he's on. Like, he's virtually unbeatable. He's not starting on an even slate, though. So the That's why I'm going for gross score, Justin Thomas.
My guy, I think, will finish top 5 overall. But low gross. What it comes down to for me in terms of the low gross scoring, obviously everything has to work. But what's the most important thing when it comes to low gross? Obviously, the biggest thing is going to be putting. To be able to make your putts and finish, you might not win, but if you can hold enough putts and be better than everybody else in terms of overall scoring for the week, Scotty Scheffler can win this event and go 5 under technically, because realistically he'll finish at 15 under. I think Cameron Smith is the absolute best. He's most certainly the best putter in the field. I read a stat this week, and it took my breath away. Solidified this for me. This season, and stats on the PGA Tour have only been kept since 1980. When he hits the green, he is making birdie or better putts at a 38.3% clip. That is 15% better than Tiger Woods in his entire career, who, by the way, was second in PGA Tour history in birdie or better scoring since these stats have been kept, which means that he is 15% better than every single person ever stepped foot on a golf course since 1980 at putting in a season, which is bonkers, absolutely nuts. Imagine this: 38% of your putts, when also he hits the green 84% of the time in the last 6 rounds of golf. Sorry, six events of golf. That means he's on pace. If the numbers, obviously, the courses matter a little different. He's on pace to technically make 13 birdies, assuming he makes no bogeys. That's 13 under. It's pretty damn good for someone like him. Multiply that over 4 rounds. That's a ridiculous score. So Cameron Smith is my guy for low. They're just like ridiculous and almost too much. But alas, low gross will not win you $18 million. But your winning pick will win $18 million. Who do you have winning at East Lake?
Just take a guess.
I can only imagine. It's probably the one guy you've been taking the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler. Duh. Number 1 in FedEx Cup points. I mean, come on. No, he's number 1. He's number 1 right now in FedEx Cup points. Had a very good week last week. He's due. Starting basically with a 2-shot lead, 4 rounds to go. Dude, Scotty, you have four rounds. As long as you're leading after these next 4 rounds, you win $18 million. Yes, Scotty Scheffler for sure.
You said mental toughness is going to get you the win at East Lake, and I think Patrick Cantlay is probably the most mentally tough guy out on this golf course in terms of the aggregate and where he sits. Only 2 strokes back. I think he can make that up in a heartbeat. Last year, John Rahm was more mentally strong than anybody else going into that golf course, and Patrick Cantlay outplayed him. I think there's no doubt in my mind that he has the experience. He has the win already. He's been here 3 times in the past. And might I add, the last 2 times that he was here that he didn't win, finished top 5 in the low gross. I think it's pretty apparent. I think Patrick Cantlay will win his bet. Will go back to back and defend not just one title to BMW, but defend his title again at the Tour Championship. So there you have it. That's a season 2 of getting the hole in the books.
You want to know the best part?
What?
You get me for a full season next year. I bet you're so excited.
I know. I'm very excited. It's gonna be incredible.
You're gonna be like, oh my god, KB, Ben's like so mean to me. Wow.
I must say, obviously we had a little changeover in management on the show. Very seamless turnover. You've been incredible as somebody who didn't study broadcast journalism or anything in like radio or media like me. I'm very impressed with the way you've been so far. In only what 4 or 5 weeks. It's been a really good turnaround, and I think some very good things to come in the near future.
I think some fantastic things are to come in the future. You're a great co-host. You know, you drive me nuts sometimes when you're late. You don't send me the link on time, or you cancel the day before.
I have a day job. You golf for a living. Shut up.
I am talking.
I'm still in my work clothes. You're wearing a hoodie. You golf for a living.
Yeah, so hoodie's comfortable. I bet you wish you had it on.
I do, honestly.
It's really comfortable. It's really comfortable.
Yeah, no, I think some great things to come. And you know what's the absolute best part?
What?
The PGA Tour season literally starts in a month and a half.
We have a quick turnaround, don't we?
Before we go, this one take from you as a pro. Do you think the PGA Tour should just kind of abolish this like October through late November like gap and just give the players 3 months off? Or at the very least, make it like those Corn Ferry Tour like qualifying events where like if you basically tack them on and you can basically win your way to a PGA Tour card come January. I think they got to adjust it.
See, I don't think they should. And my reasoning for that is because you don't want those. Because look, I've played Sea Island. I've played at Sea Island before. Like the courses that they play are fantastic. Look, they're not like the sexiest events in the world. I get it, but revenue will significantly drop if they just limit it to like guys that basically are going to would have lost their tour card. Yeah. And guys that play the season on the PGA Tour, when they do lose their tour card, they go to the web.com Tour Finals anyway. So that's their chance to get their tour card back. I just think like those events, they really benefit from guys like, say, a Kevin Kisner or like a Webb Simpson, guys who play those courses and play those events. Look, it's an easier way to get FedEx Cup points and get your season off on a good foot. Maybe steal a win or two. I think they should keep. I do think golf needs some type of like off season for its players, because if you're not like a top of the line player, you're not really getting an off season. You're just constantly, you're constantly playing. I just don't see how that could be. Maybe I really don't think there's much going on in December. I mean, use December, I guess, as your off season and stuff. You get a month off. Look, it's not like you're running up and down the basketball court. It's not like you're getting hit by 300-pound linemen in football. But I think they need to keep it. The schedule's never going to be perfect. I think that they should just keep it the same, though. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Ladies and gents, that is it for another season of Getting the Hole. It's been incredible, like we said. But don't worry, it's currently August 23rd on a Tuesday. We'll be back September 15th, like a 2-week hiatus for the 40 net championship. I'm just totally kidding. We're going to be back on next week because we have President's Cup to chat about. We got to talk about what happened at the Tour Final. We got to talk about so many different things. Golf never stops, and that's why we are coming back to you next week after the Tour Final. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy our picks. Let's go Cantlay. Let's go Scheffler. Hopefully we get another one of those shootouts in Atlanta. It's going to be incredible. Thank you